Now let us see and do an advanced level of a discussion. Now, before I move into it, I just wanted to ask few of you, how many of you are aware about share market? कितने लोग को शेयर मार्केट के बारे में पता है? अरे बता दो. Yes in the chat box, no in the chat box, right? इधर आम बताइए चैट बॉक्स में, जनता जानना चाहती है आपको पता है कि नहीं शेयर मार्केट के बारे में. बाकी लोग जो छुप छुप के बैठे हैं और जो रिकॉर्डिंग में देख रहे हैं, दिल में बोलिए, हम हमारे तक भावनाएं पहुंच रही हैं आपकी. काफी लोग कह रहे हैं हाँ हाँ हाँ, मैंने नाम तो सुना है शेयर मार्केट का, या मुझे पता तो है शेयर मार्केट. गजब है ना. ये कौन था जिसने नहीं लिखा है? कोई बात नहीं बेटा, कोई बात नहीं. ये मम्मी कहती है शेयर मार्केट में ट्रेडिंग नहीं करना, तो मैं ट्रेडिंग करना थोड़ी सिखाऊंगा तुमको, है ना. मैं तो एक्सेल चलाना सिखाऊंगा. ठीक है सर. आपकी अगर किसी की कोई फेवरेट कंपनी होगी तो उसका नाम लिख सकते हो चैट बॉक्स में. मैं खुशी खुशी उस कंपनी का एनालिसिस करेंगे, थोड़ा सा एक्सेल के थ्रू नंबर्स को फील करेंगे. कोई किसी की कोई फेवरेट कंपनी? अदानी. आ हा, लिखा तो भी अदानी जी का नाम लिखा. ओके. आदित्य ने आईटीसी क्यों लिखा मुझे नहीं पता, पर ठीक है, आदित्य जी की बात सर आंखों पर. आईटीसी कहे हैं आदित्य जी ने, आईटीसी. ओके, सो सॉरी. यस, so Aditya said ITC company. चलो, let me take the ITC. So let me go to Yahoo Finance and let me pull out the data for ITC. हाँ, तो please ignore the advertisements which you are going to be seeing here, है ना. It has no direct relation to me, or it do not have any relation to me. Whatever I am going to be, or whatever ad you are going to be seeing, ignore it please. Okay, ignore कर देना उसको. So we are going to Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance में जाते हैं. Once you go here, you'll be able to see some of the details about the stocks which is there. Now let me pick one of the company called as ITC. Aja bhai aja. Right, ITC. We are going to be working on ITC Limited. Right. I hope everyone is aware about ITC Limited. ITC also have good hotels. Right. And what is something which I want? I want some historic data. Right. मुझे past का data चाहिए. I wanted some historic data in my Excel file. So what I did, I just clicked on a historic data. And after that is done, you can see the time period and you can see the details where you get an option to download it out. ठीक है, आपको टाइम पीरियड दिख जाएगा और ऑप्शन दिख जाएगा कि आप उसको डाउनलोड कर सकते हो. Now let me say for example put a time year for 5 साल. Let me take a data for 5 years. ठीक है, and historic prices and frequencies daily. Let me click on apply. That I will click on apply. The data is going to be appeared. Data आ जाएगा. And after that is done, I will click on download button. Okay, I can click on download button. If you could see here top right hand side, you can see the file have been downloaded. दिखा आपको, right? For the people, if you could see it out, है ना, तो फाइल डाउनलोड हो गई है. जो नहीं दिख पा रहे हैं, नो इश्यूज, मैं ओपन करके दिखा देता हूँ. जैसे डाउनलोड हो गई, कहाँ मिल जाएगा भाई मेरे को? डाउनलोड सेक्शन में मिल जाएगा. नाउ वन थिंग, इफ यू हैव नोटिस्ड योर, ध्यान से देखो, राइट, एक चीज अगर आप ध्यान से देख सकते हो, एंड दैट इज द फाइल इज इन CSV फॉर्मेट, है ना. द फाइल वाज इन CSV फॉर्मेट. नाउ प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग, CSV फाइल एक धोखा है, राइट. CSV फाइल क्या है? एक धोखा है. Why I am saying this out? Because whenever you're going to be working into CSV format, what does it say? Some features might be lost if you save this workbook in CSV, right? To preserve this features, save the file in a Excel format. Save it in an Excel file format. That's very important, right? Whenever you're going to be, I'm using this out. I should avoid this. What is something which I need to do? I just need to click on Save As, and once that is done, I'll get a multiple option to save it. You can see the multiple file types. You can see the multiple file types. Now, please understand this carefully. Many of you don't know it. If you want to save the bigger file, if the file size is very big, and if you're going to be working on that file, save the file in a binary format. Which format? Binary format. अगर file size बड़ा होने वाला है ना, तो उसको binary में save करना. Right? Otherwise, you can save it in the Microsoft Excel workbook. Simple. And there can be other ways also, but again, I'm not going to a detailed explanation of it. But one thing which is important for you, अगर file size बहुत heavy होने वाला है ना, which is a data heavy, so save it in a binary format so that it's gonna be in a better way. But I am saving it in a heavy workbook में, because the file is not gonna be that heavy, right? And I'll do ITC analysis. ठीक है, वर्किंग फाइल एक्सेल, ठीक है, डन। अब देखो जैसे मैंने किया, इट्स गोना बी सेव्ड इनटू द नॉर्मल फाइल व्हिच इज देयर। नाउ इफ यू कुड सी, आई हैव गॉट सम डिटेल्स आउट, डेट, ओपन वैल्यू, मतलब कितने में शेयर प्राइस ओपन होता है, हाई, व्हाट वाज द हाईएस्ट अमाउंट, व्हाट वाज द लोएस्ट अमाउंट, व्हाट वाज द क्लोजिंग अमाउंट, व्हाट इज द एडजस्टेड वैल्यू एंड व्हाट इज द वॉल्यूम। ठीक है, नाउ लेट मी सॉर्ट आउट द डेट फर्स्ट, डेट को थोड़ा सा एक्सपांड करते हैं। इफ यू कुड सी द डेट्स व्हिच इज देयर 6/6/12 है ना, मेरे को पूरा डेट मिल गया है। I think I've got only 1 year का data instead of 5 years, but ठीक है, let us ignore it. I've clicked on 5 years, but वो time लेता है, कभी-कभी error दे देता है। So I got a data for 1 year. Now what I wanted is very simple. I wanted to convert this date into a proper format where I can see this date in this way. Because it's very difficult. Many of you don't know what is 6th month of a year. How you can do it? Very simple. Select it all, Control-Shift-3. Select it all and press it Control-Shift-3. Now, many times what is going to be happening, you'll be also able to see this dates in this way. Please see these things carefully. Many times what is going to be happening, आपको ये dates है ना, you'll be able to see in this for number format. What is something which you need to do? Again, select है ना, Control space bar, Control-Shift-3. 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 If you want to note it down, bang on, you can note it down. Control-Shift-3. You can just convert it into proper date format. Now, if you could see this out, I can see multiple prices which is there, but I'm removing it as of now. Or let me put it as a base data. है ना, base data करके रख देता हूँ इसको. And I'll copy it. Shift F11 for new sheet. I'll just paste it out. And I'll just rename it. Alt H O R new, or I can put it out working file. Okay, I don't need all this. I'll just take the adjusted and I want to have a volume. Now, if you could see how fast I was able to do it. And next thing, if I wanted to say, for example, and if I wanted to put a comma, right? So again, you are aware of, you can just press Alt H K, right? Once that is done, it is going to be taken the comma out, and you can just remove the zeros which are there. Okay. Now putting a macro will save all the time out, right? You can just directly do it with a one press. Everything is going to be sorted. Okay. Now next thing, yesterday I've told you out, you can also prepare a pivot table. Can you prepare a pivot table? The answer is big yes. What is something which you need to do? You can just go here, select it. You can just go to the insert tab. You can just pivot table. The shortcut is, and select it out, Alt H, right? Alt NVT, right? After that is done, press OK. It's going to be taken and converted into a pivot table. The next thing what is going to be needed, say for example, I wanted to put the data out based on a date, and I wanted the data based on the adjusted closing price. I got the adjusted closing price. Update में you will see many times this is going to be throwing some details out. मुझे year नहीं चाहिए. I just don't want the year out. I don't want the date. And I just got the month which is there. Month भी नहीं चाहिए. You can just throw it out. You can get a day wise which is there. आपको day wise analysis आ गया कि भाई this is something which is there. Date wise you can just get the analysis out. Okay. Now say for example, someone says that कि नहीं, I want to do the analysis based on the month. Someone said that, sir, I want to do the analysis based on month. Okay, so you can just put the month here, right? मुझे यहाँ पे month डालना है. So I can use some multiple formulas which is there, and you can just use multiple formulas which is there. One of the formula I've used many times is end of month. And I just want, you can use end of month. I can just select this, comma, which month. I just will press 0. And then at the time I'll press this out, it is going to be showing me the last day of a month, because the formula says end of month, EO, which is end of month. Right? So you can, that is there, or you can also go with this as well. Okay. So simple, two ways. One way was I can just press EO. EO will go for end of month, start date, comma, 0. Okay. At 0 mein kya? Because it's going to be showing the last day. After that is done, once I get it out, I'll get the last day of month. This is one of the options. Second option was, if you want to see the month out, equal to month. Simple formula. This, comma, simple, bracket close. It's going to be showing me the date. I just need to convert it into number. It was in a date format. So 6 आ गया, जो 6 महीना था 6 का आ गया. right? It will show you the proper month out which was there, है ना? Simply it is going to be showing you the month which is there, है ना? तो जो दिखाना था वो आ गया. Multiple ways to do it out. 2 phase I've told you, right? First EO, second is month formula. मेरे को month मिल गया. Now next thing what I wanted to do, right? Again I wanted to put this data here. मुझे यहाँ पे data डालना है. So what is one thing which you need to do? There's two things, multiple ways to refresh it out. The best way which I prefer, I don't know how many of you have this key, right? Control K side, there will be able to see some box in your laptop. And just press FN and control. It is going to be opening. It's nothing but a right click. And FN and then control. If it is there in your laptop, if it is not there in your laptop, you can just right click here. You can just press FN and control and you can refresh it. The time you'll do it out, here you will see some magic happening in automatically the column have been added. Now this is going to be only adding, please see this out carefully. This is going to be only added if it is in the middle of the data which was there, because we have selected till here. Now if you add the month column here, it's not going to be added by this way because you have taken the data till here. आप getting it? वो बीच में डालोगे तभी वो आएगा, एंड में डालोगे तो वो नहीं आएगा, बिकॉज आपने लास्ट कॉलम जो सिलेक्ट किया था वो ये किया था. तो आप यहाँ पे बीच में कितने भी कॉलम डालते जाओ वो ले लेगा, बिकॉज द रीजन इज सिंपल, है ना? The last column it needs to pick this. Now one thing which is there many a times, if you don't put a heading नहीं डालोगे तो it's not going to be picking up. Okay, now coming back, if I need a month out, I'll remove this, I'll put a month here. Again I'll remove all the unnecessary things out. Okay, आ गया मुझे, I got the month wise which is there. Now what is one thing which I wanted to see many a times, I wanted to see what was the average share price. Now please understand, I don't need a sum, right? When I'm doing a analysis of a share, I don't need a sum. I just wanted to see the average share price in the month of June 2022. So what I'll do, I'll just click here, value, filter setting, field setting, and I'll convert it into an average. After that is done, I got an average share price of the company month wise. I got an average share price of a company month wise. Was it a simple task? The answer is yes. It was a very simple task, no rocket science. Right? Again, you can convert it into proper way. Now I can read it out. Or what I did, Alt H-K. Simple rocket science. Now, after I got this out, right? Now someone will say that, sir, don't you think so, right? Right? If you could arrange this out in another way, or right? If this data can be arranged, right? Although it is in an arranged way, in a proper way, but many times you'll feel this out, the data is not in a proper way. If you want to shift it above, so very simple, you can just right click here, you'll get an option to move. If you want to move it up and down, you can also do it out, है ना? इसको ऊपर नीचे करना है ना, वो भी आप कर सकते हो, है ना? Very simple. Now next thing, say for example, someone says that, sir, don't you think so that I also wanted to see the count of a days in each month? Someone will say that कि मुझे देखना है सर कितने दिन का एवरेज है. What is something which you can do? Again, what is, you can just go to the adjusted closing, you can just put it over a value section, and you can just scroll it down here, scroll down, convert the sum into again count. You got an additional column. Can I put a multiple columns out? Yes. Simple. Now, sir, I want to shift this column here. I want this C column in a B column space. What is something which you need to do? You just need to pull it out and you just need to shift it. Simple. No rocket science. You know, that was very simple. The answer is yes. Sir, I want to say, for example, this is the data not for 1 year, it is for 5 years. You know, and you want to analyze it based on a month. You want to analyze it based on a month. Right? So what is something which you can do? Again, I'll show you some demo out. Okay. You can also use slicers here. Right? You can multiple times you can use a filter slicer. I'll tell you out with the 5-year data, but let me take the slicer out here. And I want to put a slicer based on a month. I'll press OK. The time will place a slicer here, right? Where you can just increase the column number of columns which you want to show, right? If you could see here, again, if you want to put the slicer out, just I need to turn off the video so that people in recording can see. Right, you can increase the column here. And here you can see the column size. You can see the column here, right? They can just click and you'll be able to increase the slicer and the columns in a row. And the time you want to do an analysis for one particular month, click here, you'll be able to do the analysis of one particular month. Now, how this is helpful, again, I'm going to be telling you out. Say, for example, there are multiple months for which you want to do an analysis. You want to do an analysis for all the share price in the month of a June. You can just select a June and you'll be able to get a detailed analysis of all the share price in the month of a June. Okay, what I did, again, insert tab, insert slicer. The time I insert a slicer, it's going to be asking you which cell you need to put it out. Again, I'll delete it. Okay, insert slicer, right? Let me go here. Insert slicer. They'll ask you where you want to enter it out. So, for example, I want to enter for a month. Press OK. After press OK, you'll get a slicer out, and they'll ask you where you want to. No rocket science. Okay. Now, if again the data is big, right? You can just pull it out another way. Okay. Now let me see again. Let me try for a bigger data. I've tried for a bigger data out, but it has not given me. I don't know why. But now let's see again. I'll put it out a bigger data. Can apply, download. अब आ जाना भाई 7th. Hopefully I got it perfectly fine. See, I got it out. I'm just taking it here, Shift F11, pressing it out, Alt H OI. Now see the speed which you're going to be getting by the end of this class, right? Now if you want to hide it out, you can just press Control 0, right? If you want to open it out, you can just press. So Control 0 is something which you can do. Right click, unhide. Right, I'll just teach you out hide and unhide in a while, but let me do some formatting. Okay. See how fast you can work, right? If you have a macros out, you can just see the speed out. Okay. So I want you to work in this speed, right? Month only. I'm putting out in 2 ways because I wanted the month. I wanted to show you something. Okay. Perfectly fine. I got all the details. Let me put the pivot table. Now I got the pivot table out. This was for 6 months. And if I want a year also, I can just put year also equal to year. I can just put it out 2018. I got the year as well. Again, I'll put right click, refresh. I got the year as well. And put year in the column, say for example. So sorry, and put the year in the column section. Okay. And now I wanted to see what I'm doing very, very smartly. I'm just doing the analysis out. Adjusted closing price, right? And I don't want a sum. I want the average. Okay. If you could see, this was a data, right? Now, if you could see this out, you know, smartly what I've done, I've taken the average, right? This is a month wise. First month, January, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, sixth month, seventh month, eighth month, ninth month, 10th month. And this is year, right? This is year. Okay. So this is year, which is there. You know? Year wise, I have just plotted it out. If you could see, 2018 May in the month of 6th month, with this June, right? The price was this. 2019 May, the price was this. And in the first month, if you want to compare, right, you can just compare it in the first month also. It's very easy to put it out and compare the things around. The only thing is that you just need to plot it out in that way. So many times in an interview, they'll ask you how you would summarize this data. You can summarize this data using this. Plus also you can summarize using SUMIF. I hope you remember the formula. SUMIF se bhi you can summarize this out. Simple. Sum if the month is first. Sum if it is month is first and 2018. That is also one of the way where you can use to summarize it out. Okay. Now again coming back to the use case of a slicer, right? आपको use case दिखा देता हूँ. So say for example, I am just changing the style of the month, right? I don't want month here. I again don't want year in my column. I just want my month fall apart. Here, I'll remove all this. And now I want the slicer here. I'll just go to again insert tab, insert slicer. I want only month, है ना? वो जो 5 6 आ रहा था, उस पर मुझे लेना था. So I just wanted to compare the share price for the month of 2nd February. ये आ गया पूरा. You know what? One of the best thing which you can do, you can also plot the graph parallelly, and you can link this graph to the things which is related to this pivot table. दिखाते हैं demo. Right now, what is something which I wanted to do? Please see this carefully. I wanted to put a graph. Right. So what I'll try to do, I'll go to the insert tab. You can just select the chart which you want to plot in. Okay. So just I'll go to this and select this out. I'll go to the graph and say, for example, I wanted to plot this line graph. Right. And one thing which you can do, you can just select this line graph which is there. And of course, it's going to be taking some percentages and different rows. Okay. Let me select a shorter data for 1 month. चला गया. ठीक है, इग्नोरिंग द ग्राफ, वी विल लर्न द ग्राफ इन अ सेपरेट क्लास, अदरवाइज यू विल फील लाइक वो बहुत ज्यादा भारी हो गया. ठीक है, विल हैव अ सेपरेट डिटेल सेशन ऑन अ ग्राफ. आई थिंक वी हैव केप्ट सेपरेट क्लास ऑन ग्राफ इटसेल्फ, बट आई विल गॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ अ स्लाइसर, हाउ यू कैन यूज द स्लाइसर हियर. राइट, इट्स वेरी सिंपल, वेरी गुड वे टू प्रेजेंट इट आउट. ठीक है, दैट वाज वन. नाउ सेकंड थिंग which you again need to understand is, whenever you're going to be using on a voluminous data, right, it's very important to rename the sheet and working on the sheet properly, because if you not do it out, of course you'll create a confusion and mess around. Now, this was related to the share price, which I've covered in a very basic manner, but I'll come to this again in a while once we'll learn the grouping, how to group something out. And again, this is very important once you're going to be working on some aging analysis or other analysis in the domain out. So coming back to our section, I've taught you how to save the file, right? And if you want to save as, right, what does save as means? It's going to be creating a copy. And if you want to save as out, you can just press F12. Again, it will create a copy, additional copy for it. Okay. So there are two options. Continuously, I would recommend that Control S should be in your mind every time. You just need to press Control S. The time you will work on some of the function, or you can also turn on auto on. Okay. So that is something which can be done. Format painter is something which I have told you, right? This is also done. Share price analysis, which I have done it out, right? We'll learn the aging and slice pivot and slicer is something which again I have told you out now. Right now we are going to be learning the most interesting part, which is the aging analysis. Now this is something which is very interesting and important, right? Which you again going to be working on some additional data. One data which you have worked on a share price, the additional data which we are going to be working on is now aging analysis.